Yo, what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for November 1st of 2023. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful Halloween. It is the first day of Dia de los Muertos, and November 1st. We are already in the month of November. My birthday is coming up very soon, in about 2 weeks and a little bit of change time. I'm working on my birthday and the day after my birthday, but I'll be 32 this year, so it happens. Anyways, hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day so far, and let's go ahead and hop into the transits for today. Excuse me. So we still, of course, we are in that first decan of Scorpio with the sun here. It's going to be at 8 degrees for the first part of the day. We'll be shifting to 9 degrees. We can see that Mercury and Mars are starting to separate as Mercury gains even more speed. It's moving at it's still over about 1.5 degrees today, a little bit over 1.5 degrees, whereas Mars is moving at about 41 minutes a day. So, they're starting to separate. Mercury is starting to really lead the pack, all right? And we do have, of course, this moon today here in Gemini. It's going to make some aspects to the nodes. It's going to sextile the north node. It will make a nice little trine over to the south node today as well. And we're going to see, of course, that moon shifting into Cancer, which I think is going to be the major shift of the day. Because other than that, we do have some tightening energy. So the orb between the Sun and Jupiter opposition is going to be tightening, as well as the Venus and Neptune opposition. That one is also going to be tightening. So, once again, we have one of those days where the energy is kind of building up. And it's kind of like that continuation of yesterday. Now, we start off the day, of course, with, like I said, a moon in Gemini, which the moon in Gemini always wants to kind of bring a little bit of a light, kind of playful energy to things, but especially with a Sun and a Mars and a Mercury and Scorpio that are trying to get to the bottom of things, being the investigator, wanting to find some level of spice in life too. This moon in Gemini can definitely have us, kind of almost pushing for some sort of stimulation, maybe even pushing for like those quick little dopamine hits. And I think that's the one thing that we kind of do have to, be wary of, especially with the moon that's going to be in square with Neptune today. Albeit it's going to happen pretty early in the day. It's going to be a 9-10 a.m. Aspect. But, we're definitely, this is a day where, we may want to get like those like quick little dopamine hits just to feel something. Some semblance of movement, especially with a Saturn that is at 0 degrees, still retrograde, right? And it's getting very, very slow now. We're getting to the point where, we're starting to kind of come out of the fog. But remember what I was talking about with Mercury being a mutable planet and fixed water. This is creating some dry ice. So now it's like we want to kind of storm into situations and take some sort of action with the Mars here and the Sun giving Mars even a little bit more fuel, but charging into the fog that's what it kind of feels like. We're kind of charging into the fog and we're wondering, especially this is Scorpio season, what ghouls and monsters and shadows are lurking within that space. So we get a moon over here squaring over to Neptune, can definitely bring up some challenges when it comes to our minds and different groups of people being swayed in particular like directions, getting caught up in the wave of things. This is definitely a day, especially when the moon moves into Cancer, where certain things that may come out in the media you may just want to be wary of, because it's going to try and tug on your heartstrings. It's going to try and have you pick sides, and you really want to rise above that. This is not about picking sides. This is not about, if there's the only side that we should be picking is the side of humanity, which includes everybody, right? That's what it comes down to. And yes, that sounds very idealistic, maybe a little overly optimistic and shit, but that's ultimately, if we don't have something idealistic and optimistic to strive for like that, then what the hell are we doing, right? We can't just be like, oh, we can't ever achieve world peace. But if we're not striving for world peace, then what the hell are we doing? Just as a little aside there, right? So this moon squaring Neptune, yeah, it's not going to be easy. Neptune's going to win this square because Neptune is at home. And even though it's retrograde, this is Beerus we're talking about, right? So, like I say, Beerus, this is, if you don't know who Beerus already is, and I'm pretty sure I've shown you guys who this dude is, right? But let me just a little bit of a refresher. Just this is Beerus, right? I'm calling this guy Neptune, right? So, which is essentially kind of like an aspect in many ways of Anubis that's being channeled through media, if you will. I very much so view this as very Neptunian energy. He sleeps for a long period of time, and then when he wakes up, he just wants to eat the best food, right? Which is kind of a Taurus-y kind of aspect, but he just wants to eat the best food. And if he doesn't get good food, then he'll destroy the entire planet. And that's the thing about it. He can go from being like super emotionally sound to like, oh, this sandwich wasn't good. Yeah, let me fuck up your entire world. Let me fuck up your entire planet, right? So that's what this kind of energy is. And I'm sorry, but with a moon in Gemini squaring over to this is not a time to be just getting washed away by, what do you want, Leo? Do you want to go outside? Is that what you want? Jeez, I'm in the middle of making a video. And you're just over here. Go on, it's cold out there. See? Yeah, see? Like, you're not going to just beat this dude, right? With that moon in Gemini. So, that's the thing about this. This is a time where, we have to be wary of the spiritual matter of things, and they're going to make this spiritual. It's 2 + 5 is 7. So they're going to make this spiritual. They're going to make this, religious, but you just don't want to really get super caught up. So it's like, this is also about, where are we paying our attention to? I think that's the important thing about this square is like, what are we paying attention to? Are we paying attention to the stories that they want to put out there that keep people divided, that keep you divided from others? Or are you going to be paying attention to energies and vibrations where it actually brings people together and continues to foster and curate the human spirit? And that's the other part about this. The Gemini, I said, if you look at the air signs, they're the ones that are represented by a human, right? Everything else isn't represented by a human, right? Aries is the ram, Taurus is the bull, Cancer is the crab, Leo is the lion. Virgo is a human, so that's the other one. Libra is a human. Scorpio is a scorpion, a water scorpion, if you really want to get technical about it. Sag is a centaur, so a mythical creature. Capricorn is a sea goat, so a mythical creature. Aquarius is like a it's I guess you could say it's a human, but it's more like an angel, if you will. And Pisces is the fish. So that's the thing about it, where the air signs are the only element where it's human. So it's like, that's the thing about this square too, is that we don't want this to kill the human spirit as well. That's the huge thing about this, So when you have this big, powerful, and it's a slow moving energy right now, and it's retrograde, where we think we're trying to figure some things out, but Neptune is going to be throwing us some curveballs. These energies are going to start to trine over to Neptune, and we're going to see when the moon comes into Cancer over the next couple of days that we're going to start seeing these grand water trines build up. When the moon hits Saturn, then it's going to hit the Sun, Mars, and Mercury, then it's going to hit Neptune. So we are definitely in water world right now. We're going to see that moon is going to shift into Cancer around 6:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to immediately make this harmonious trine over to Saturn, which is nice. The moon's going to be at home in Cancer. Saturn, I wouldn't say it dislikes Pisces. It's just hard to necessarily catch its footing in Pisces. The cool thing about Saturn in Pisces is that it gives Saturn this opportunity to really be the admiral and to guide the ship and to be the commander of that ship. You know what I mean? And Saturn likes a good challenge too. So it's like, that's the thing about this. You know, I don't know per se if Saturn likes a good challenge. I think Saturn's just since it deals with challenges and attrition and hard work, it knows what it needs to do to get things done. So that's the thing about it. And this moon trining over to Saturn, it does give us an opportunity to, you know, to kind of tap back into our emotional center, you know, and to realize that we actually are able to navigate these waters. But with the moon squaring Neptune before this happens, it's like, you know, that could be a sort of like that could be a projection where they may try and tell you like, oh, you need to do this thing and this thing and this thing before you're ready, or you know, they're going to try and tell you how to feel about things, you know, instead of you formulating how you actually feel about them and getting in touch with your actual emotions and how you actually really feel. That's the thing about this. And as you can see, that sun's going to move to 9 degrees by this point, and that orb with that opposition with Jupiter is tightening more and more and more, and we'll see it come exact Thursday. So that's the thing about this. Mercury at 17 degrees, like I said, that one's tightening. Venus now at 23 degrees, that one's tightening. And we can see that Venus is also beginning to quincunx over to the north node. So definitely a lot of building energy. This is going to be a day where I feel like it's kind of like a day of like two parts. Part one is that moon finishing up in Gemini, making the square over to Neptune, and seeing how we can navigate those projections. Navigating like the world's not going to look the way that we thought it was going to look. And we have to learn how to be okay with that. Find the humor in things, find the comedy in things. This whole thing that we're viewing, this movie that we're viewing, it's like so many people are viewing it as like a thriller. People are viewing it is a thriller, but people are viewing it as some sort of like, you know, horror film. And we are in Scorpio season, so it's definitely going to look like a horror film. But it is simultaneously also a comedy. It's simultaneously an action, a coming of age story for humanity. It is multitude. There's a multitude of genres within this story. But depending upon what you tune into and what you give your energy to will determine what aspect of the movie, what genre of the movie you're predominantly going to be playing out. And I would say it's going to be a time where you want to just be observant and pay attention and ask yourself, what is this actually telling me? Kind of go past the surface level of shit. You know, we are in Scorpio season. Go past the surface level of shit of what's being presented to you and trying to figure out, all right, what is this actually telling me? So we are kind of in detective mode right now. And, you know, you don't want to just accept everything that's being presented to you. What's going on there, isn't it, buddy? I have to get this fixed. Yeah. Y'all forgive me. I just had to cater to my kitty there for a bit. Yeah, so that's like part one. Part two, moon moves into Cancer, immediately makes a trine over to Saturn, right? So it's interesting. You started off with a square to something at the end of Pisces, and then the trine to the beginning of Pisces. This whole area right now has been triggered so many times over the last couple of months, right? There's a really huge focus right now on these last three signs and subsequently the first couple of signs of the zodiac as well. A lot of focus over here, and there's a reason why. That's the reason why things feel very polarizing. That's the reason why we feel like a lot of this alpha omega energy, it's weird. It does really in many ways feel like the world is kind of splitting and that there are different timelines that are being born, you know. And of course with a Saturn here in Pisces with Neptune, which hasn't happened in who knows how long. I think it's been like was it like 500 years or something since they've been together. I gotta look exactly, but it's been a long time, right? And we also have to just think and consider too. Let's just think about this. Neptune being here in Pisces, and remember, Neptune has a very long transit around the sun, right? Neptune's not going to be back in Pisces again in our lifetime when it comes out eventually, and I think it does retrograde back into Pisces, but once it's fully out, it won't come back into Pisces in our lifetime unless there's some sort of technology that comes out that allows people to live that long, right? It won't come back around. When Neptune goes into Aries, that's going to pretty much start like this new the new gods are going to be born, the new spiritualities are going to be born. There's a lot of new things that are on the horizon, but we have to kind of finish up and wrap up a lot of these old stories. We have to wrap up a lot of these old narratives. And that's the thing about this. The reason why we see so much strife is because a lot of these things are trying to hold on to their relevance and they want to make it into the new world. I don't know how much of this stuff will make it into the new world. I think there's always going to be some stuff that makes it in. You know what I mean? Some things that'll trickle down, but considering these energies and what's going on too, because by the time that Neptune will come into Aries, Pluto will be in Aquarius by that point. It's going to be a wild ride. We think we've seen some stuff now, but we really haven't seen much yet. So that's what's happening. A lot of people are trying to desperately hold on to their beliefs. They're trying to desperately hold on to aspects of their spirituality, which are going through massive transformation. And they're going through massive ending points. You got to remember, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It's the hidden zone, and it's where we review. It's the review period. Everything is in a review period. And that's why things just feel so up in arms right now. Because people really want to bring some of that old stuff into the new world. And I think it's about, can we transform that? We haven't even gotten to Pluto into Pisces yet. Oh my gosh. So it's like, that's the thing about this. Like, this is something that's going to be going on for a while. Like, this is not the end of it. We're going to see a lot of transformation, but it's not the end of it. Even when Neptune comes out of Pisces, it's not the end of it. Because Pluto's got to go through Pisces. And then things really, really get super, super interesting. But for today, I'm looking to the future, stuff like that. Just kind of preparing you guys for what's coming, but also making you guys realize that you are definitely equipped to handle these energies. You can move forward. You can take care of business, you know what I'm saying? And you got this. You got this. You're far stronger than you give yourself credit for. And, like I said, this moon in Cancer, it does give us an opportunity to kind of emotionally reset. And especially with the trine to Saturn, like I said, the moon probably going to have a little bit of the upper hand here, but they're harmonizing here, right? It's a harmonious aspect. So it's like this gives us an opportunity to kind of reset, to kind of almost even look at the timelines in our life and to kind of, release some things if we need to release some things, make peace with some things that we need to make peace with. Looking back at the different timelines in our life with that Saturn here in Pisces, which allows us to hop timelines a lot easier, whether you do so through dreams or astral projection or simply through memory, because that's how you can hop timelines is through memories. This gives us an opportunity to kind of go back, reset things, you know what I'm saying? It gives us an opportunity to make peace with certain aspects of our past. You know what I'm saying? That person that screwed you over 5 years ago, you can finally let that shit go. You know what I'm saying? It gives us this opportunity to do that. So, and especially with all these energies in Scorpio, gives us the opportunity to transform these energies. But we have to be willing to do the transformation. We have to be willing to go past our fears. We have to be willing to confront our fears, confront our shadows. And the thing is that you don't just eliminate your shadow. You can't eliminate your shadow because you're always going to have a shadow, even like a physical representation of it. So it's not about getting rid of your shadow. It's about learning how to dance with your shadow, not allowing your shadow to overcome you and to completely engulf you. But it's about learning how to dance with that shadow. You know what I'm saying? Learning how to dance with the darkness a little bit. You know what I mean? Not evil, but darkness. Light and dark, it's two different things, right? We all have light, we all have dark within us, right? So It's about learning how to dance with that energy and not let it engulf us, not let it completely consume us. Make, make friends with your fears, confront them head on. You know, it's scary, but if you can make a friend out of your monsters and your ghouls and your boogeymen, you realize that they're just playing their role too. And they're probably not as scary as you think they are. So let's go ahead and hop into the cards. All right, let's see what we got today. Tell you what, man, Halloween just brought the cold down here in Georgia. Like the temperature dropped like pretty much like 15 to 20 degrees from the 30th to the 31st. And I think the high today is like in the low 50s. So, bam, we just once again we kind of skip over fall. I guess it's still technically fall, but I feel like fall always gets skipped over. But we'll get that random week in November where it's like warm as hell. We have the King of Wands upright. Yeah, this is about knowing how to wield our power. This is about knowing when to wield our power as well. That's the thing about this. We have to be strategic about this. We don't want to get super emotional about this because the King of Wands has a lot of power and can really. That's the thing about fire. Fire. It can be used to create, and it can also be used to destroy. So we have to be wary of our fire and of our power. Are we using it to create things, or are we using it to destroy things? And that's the thing. Sometimes destroying something isn't per se a bad thing, especially if you're making way for something new. But if you're just getting engulfed and enraged in emotions that are unruly and are don't have some type of like purpose or direction with it, and you're just blowing up because things aren't going the way that you thought they were going to, or you're bored and you're feeling apathetic and you just want some type of spice in your life, you're just wanting something to happen just for a little bit of excitement, you go blowing up situations that don't necessarily need to be blown up right now. You got to be a little bit more strategic about this. I pulled two cards. Let's follow by the Six of Wands as well as the Seven of Cups. Yeah, this is, you've already achieved victory. And I feel like with the Seven of Cups here in reverse, we can be wanting to like kind of weigh our options and stuff. But with that Six of Wands upright as well, it's like we've already have arrived. We've already have achieved it. And, having us focus on all these different cups, all these different aspects, I think we really have to just kind of hone in and focus on those day-to-day victories. You know what I mean? So it's like maybe we feel like we're too scattered. Maybe we feel like we're kind of having too many different options, if you will. But we kind of want to hone in so we can actually wield this wand, more effectively, if you will. Bottom of the deck, just to add just a little bit more clarity. Yeah, we have the Knight of Cups. Yeah, so obviously this is like some Holy Grail kind of energy. Wanting to go for the Holy Grail, the hopeless romantic. That's what I call the Knight of Cups. And I think it's great. I think, it's good to strive for something. It's good to strive for a goal or maybe even a fantasy and try and make that fantasy come real. But we just have to ask ourselves too, are we too clouded? Is there too many things kind of getting in our way? Do we feel like we have too many options, if you will? Are we leaving ourselves too open? Or, is this a time to where we need to kind of narrow things down and kind of, actually make a decision? I think that's the thing about this. You succeed when you actually make a decision and you're not so indecisive, and you start to wield that power in a constructive way that allows you to create the miracles in your life that you want to create, because they're not as out of reach as you think they are. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast this November 1st of 2023. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. And like I said, thank you so much for joining me here. If you would like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful, I didn't even say it, hump day. And I will see y'all on the next astrology forecast. Peace.